Hello and welcome to the IGN UK podcast. I am Alex and I'm joined this week by Krupa.
Hello.
Karamali.
Hello.
And Tilly Willy.
Hello, pod people.
On this week's
I definitely came off best in that. The nicknames. Just my surname.
Krupa. Yeah.
Yours is belittling.
I didn't even hear it.
Why? It's not belittling.
Confectionery. Tilly Willy.
Yeah, but it's just
I suppose.
it's affectionate.
Let's not make that a thing.
Let's make that a thing. Anyway, on this week's podcast, we're going to talk about E3 because, well, most of us there. Chris, you were enjoying it from back here, but we will talk about that later.
Yep. How was the podcast that you guys recorded over there?
Really good.
It was lost on the flight back and forth.
Held at customs.
One thing to do.
Corrupted.
One thing to do.
They pretend they do all this work when they're out there, but all I hear is stories of drinking and partying and having a good time.
You can do both, Chris.
I suppose you can.
I did lose my phone, but you can do both.
Yes, you did lose your phone.
Anyway, that's not the only big event that's been happening right now. The World Cup obviously started last... Was it Thursday or was it Friday? I don't know, because we were in an airport in LA.
Friday? Thursday.
What do you think so far?
Oh, it's about the World Cup, are we?
Yeah, football.
Well, it's been brilliant, hasn't it?
It's been goals. It's been a fantastic World Cup.
Yeah.
It's already better than the last two, which were very boring, conservative affairs.
Spain are gone. See, whatever we say is going to be quite out of date by the time people start listening.
Yeah, who knows?
So much
tomorrow.
fun.
So this has been recorded on a Thursday.
Yeah, so England are playing this evening. I've got my England shirt on.
They might be
Fresh from your EDL rally.
still in it. And they might not still be in it.
And I have a particular vested interest in them still being in it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to their third match.
Or
and
not.
if they're out by the
You'd be
time the third
flying
match
halfway
happens,
around the planet for a match that might be meaningless.
for what could be a dead rubber. That's a lot of money to spend.
Is that a phrase?
Yeah,
Dead
when
rubber.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that
I
phrase.
haven't heard.
yeah.
I haven't heard that phrase.
It's from tennis, actually. I think it.
Is it?
Yeah, but it means that the match doesn't mean anything. It doesn't
Right.
matter.
Right.
Neither team.
Still, it'll be an experience.
It will be an experience. If any of our
An
listeners,
expensive one.
if any of our listeners are out in Brazil and want to take me out for steak,
Why don't you
that's
take them
Argentina.
out?
That's Argentina,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I still think they have steak in Brazil.
Yeah. Or a beer or a caipirinha.
Yeah.
They have,
That's the drinks.
Yeah.
Have you been enjoying it, Alex?
Well, the games I've watched, I think they've been fantastic.
Yeah.
The first England game, I thought they were, really, really good.
That's the first time I watched an England performance. It was like, actually, that was enjoyable. Even though we lost, I actually still enjoyed it. I came away
Lots
positive.
of positives.
Yes.
And I know we have lots of listeners in America. And so that was not very good.
America.
In America?
And their opening game was fantastic.
Yeah.
Did they win?
Yeah.
Well done then.
They were ballsy.
Were they
2-1.
against
They beat Ghana, who I think have beaten them in a couple of World Cups, so it was revenge.
Yeah, they put them out at the last two.
They scored a dramatic goal at the beginning and a goal at the end.
Yeah.
And very exciting.
Who have we all got on the office sweepstakes?
I've got Portugal, who did not do too well. Got beaten 4-0 by Germany.
Yeah, Belgium, who won their opening match, came from behind.
Against Tilly's team.
Algeria.
Yeah.
I've got Colombia, yeah.
You played
Colombia were quite good.
Yeah.
They're playing this afternoon. At 5
Yeah.
o'clock.
Are they?
Yep.
If you ask nicely, Alex might let us go at 5 to watch it.
Can we, Alex?
Come on, Alex. Come on, Alex.
Is that asking nicely?
Come on, Alex.
Shouting at me.
Come on, Alex. Come on, it's got me excited about football for the first time ever.
So we did we got FIFA to play itself and predicted the match.
Cheeky.
Colombia versus... who are they playing? I can't remember.
I didn't know they were playing.
It is one of the African teams.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Oh, yes.
Oh, the Ivory Coast.
Didier
Thanks
Drogba.
for
And
translating.
according to FIFA World Cup, Cameroon... No, was it Colombia?
Cameroon didn't do anything.
Cameroon.
They didn't score. 2-0 in favour of Colombia.
Good.
Colombia have got a very good defence and a great goalie, Ospina.
Well, we don't have Falcao, is his name.
Wow.
Yeah, look at my yeah, so I did some research on it. But we do have that James Rodriguez guy who's quite good.
But he's allowing, the absence of Falcao is letting the other players flourish, is what you said to me earlier on.
And what do you think about Mexico and Man United's Hernandez?
Apparently he looks like me.
He does look a little bit like you.
So there's that.
I may have just sent around another email to the entire IGN company about your resemblance to Chikorita.
Good.
Excellent.
I'm glad that that's been done.
Okay, good.
Hi.
Anyway, let's tackle this week's news. And first up, that bloke from Game of Thrones is Aquaman.
Yes. Khal Drogo.
Is he the one who can talk to dolphins?
Khal Drogo. You've read the books. That's one major difference from the books. In the books, you can talk to dolphins.
Just riding around on them.
In the books, Khaleesi is a dolphin. Am I doing the story?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, I am. Okay, good. So Jason Momoa of that the Game of Thrones fame, and also Baywatch Hawaii. Over the weekend, lots of rumours from various sources, Hollywood Reporter and so on, that he'd been cast as Aquaman in Dawn of Justice, which is the Batman v Superman movie. Don't think it's still not been officially
I believe that. We posted stories say it's been confirmed.
Yeah, but that still links back to Hollywood Reporter, I think.
Unbelievable. It sounds like he's Aquaman.
It's pretty much all but confirmed. But over the weekend, he posted a picture on his own Instagram account of him with a trident.
Right.
It's kind of intimating that, I am Arthur Curry, I am Aquaman, but at the same time, giving the finger. It's almost like...
Classic Momoa.
F off, I'm not Aquaman. Yeah. So, a bit ambiguous.
Right.
Maybe that's what he's going to bring to the role. More visual obscenity.
So I didn't actually realise when I originally read the news, I thought it was for a standalone Aquaman movie.
Well, yeah, when I told
didn't
you,
realise it was another character.
Because what you're thinking is, you know what, that film needs more characters,
exactly.
And if not more characters, more superheroes with their own backstories and powers that have not been depicted on the big screen before.
Yeah. Because I don't really know much about Aquaman. What are his powers?
He can talk to fish.
Should we want an actual definition of what his powers are? I'll tell you this straight from the DC Comics database, because it's probably more than just being able to swim fast.
He can talk to fish, and he has a trident.
No, he's basically like Ian Thorpe.
Who's Ian Thorpe?
The guy who founded Thorpe Park.
Great.
No,
Australia.
He's the Torpedo. He's the Australian swimmer.
Okay, right.
Who likes it.
Isn't that Michael Phelps?
He likes to drink the water through a straw.
Is that Phelps? I thought it was
Michael Phelps.
It's the Torpedo.
Whoa, we're getting some dodgy legal ground.
Either way, it's not the guy who started Thorpe Park, right?
Do you want the definition of his powers? We've got them all here.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, do you want some notable aliases first? King of the Seven Seas, the Dweller in the Depths.
Ooh.
Aquatic
It's like those wings in there, right? The Dweller in the Depths.
Feel it in your waters.
It's like you, Aquatic Ace.
The Marine Marvel.
The Marine Marvel. And Terra Firma. Why is it called Terra Firma?
I don't know.
Anyway, abilities. Marine telepathy that grants the ability to manipulate sea life.
Right.
Starfish.
Water-adapted physiology grants him superhuman strength. I suppose he's used to like moving underwater. Endurance, durability, reflexes, agility, dexterity, healing, and senses. Low-level hydrokinetic talents.
Right.
Enhanced swimming speed.
That's really rubbish. Enhanced.
The thing is,
it's a little bit faster.
I'm able to speak and understand any language on Earth thanks to telepathic abilities. So I like that his physiology is adapted to being in water. So I remember once I went to Spain on holiday. My mum and dad took me to a water theme park, like a water park, and I went down like the biggest slide straight into the splash pool at the end. Yeah. Salt water.
Oh.
I'm like, I'm coming out like burning. And I like inhaled those water. I thought I was going to die.
That can happen.
See, I went to a water park in Orlando and went down a really steep one, took off, landed, like really whacked my back. And you know, you get kind of friction burns.
Yeah.
And then the water went straight up my nose and I had such a bad headache.
They're
for about
horrible.
4 hours afterwards.
Horrible place. So if he can like withstand salt water, good on him.
He is massive.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Yes,
Fun
he is.
fact.
Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, so we did a pub quiz when we were out at E3, and one of the things was matching up celebrity couples who are no longer together.
Yes.
I would say Lisa Bonet.
This is he is married to Lisa Bonet, who Alex couldn't remember the name of, because she was with Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
So that's an insight into what really goes on at E3. We did a pub quiz.
Zoe Kravitz of X-Men fame's her daughter.
Yes, and you know what's really upsetting? We cheated really fucking heavily on that quiz.
What's
we
saying?
Well, why are you swearing? That's unnecessary.
We cheated really bloody heavily.
We didn't win.
We got close.
No. Yeah, Lisa Bonet, like an older woman. He's much younger than her.
Yeah. He's 36 and she is 40-something.
She's still gorgeous.
He is...
getting on the
I wonder
the
if
bonnet.
he's playing Arthur Curry or some other embodiment of Aquaman, but what do you think?
I think he's massive.
He is
I was going to finish
huge.
my story.
Oh, sorry,
I went for a drink with him. They had a drinks thing for Conan in London when he was playing Conan.
You got a picture with him?
I got a picture with him, and I put it on a story. I was trying to find it.
It looks like forced perspective.
And I put it up on the site, and the first comment underneath it is Chris standing in a ditch. The first comment.
It does look like the technology of how they brought Gandalf to life.
He's bloody massive. He's very funny, though.
Right. Yeah, you said that. I remember you saying he was very charismatic.
Yeah, he's good fun. He was up for a laugh. Didn't take himself too seriously. Was very excited that this was going to launch his career as Conan.
It's good that he's got in the shot, though. Like, this is a
biggie.
Yeah.
There's no talk about like an Aquaman standalone or anything.
Well,
this is just
when we were at E3, there was, I don't know whether it's been refuted since, but you know, apparently DC Cinematic Universe plans were leaked.
Oh, yes.
There was talk of, I don't know, let me just have a check this. I know they talked about a Flash and Green Lantern crossover movie. I think Aquaman might not have had his own.
Yeah, they should have Flash, Green Lantern, and Kermit the Frog. all team
Aquaman
up.
doesn't. But you know what? If he was in the movie and he was the most popular thing, they'd definitely consider it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Next story, Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul is turning on Xboxes because he's just that damn hot.
He is hot.
Basically, that Xbox One advert that's been going around where he's like, I wish I had more time to play. I don't know what he sounds like. Is that close?
No, he's got more of I can't do accents.
Oh.
But he's got a very distinctive voice.
Yes, yeah.
So anyway, at the start of the advert, he goes, Xbox on, if that is his voice. And apparently, that advert has, as a result, been turning on Xboxes around the world.
Not in my living room.
No, well, I can't get mine to turn on for love nor money. But
Your Kinect's not plugged in, is it, Alex?
It is.
Oh, it is?
Actually, yeah.
You don't have to do that
Is
anymore.
Maybe it's just underneath the telly and not plugged in. I don't know.
But the problem they've had is if you use...
Maybe that would probably be why it's not working.
If you use the splitter and your Xbox is off, when he says Xbox on and it comes on, it overrides, and so your screen automatically changes to the Xbox One.
It's good that it works.
Well, yeah, but if you're in the middle of watching a TV show, I mean, admittedly, you're in the middle of the advert, right?
Exactly.
But
You're not missing that
But you
much.
have to be like, dag
Oh,
nabbit.
Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, you scamp.
You need him to say Xbox off at the end of the advert. And
You
then
do.
it'll just...
Do you think
That'll do
somebody would try to get him to say Xbox, bitch? I think there would have been some guy in marketing going, say it.
Yeah, but you couldn't do that on an advert.
So, Chris, when I was having a drink with Aaron Paul,
You had a drink with Aaron
I
Paul?
was having a drink with Aaron Paul. But I think that is too shameless, name dropping 2 in a row. We can't do 2. Because we got an email a few weeks back going, maybe it's iTunes feedback. Somebody's like, just like a bunch of name droppers. Did you see that?
You two are, to be fair. Yeah.
We never mention anything.
Because
so.
you never met anyone.
I've never met anybody. Never.
He was very nice. He was very nice. We did a Need for Speed video with him that's on site. He wasn't very good at Need for Speed, but it's fine. Need for Speed, the film, wasn't very good at being Need for Speed.
Oh, well.
Good.
Chris, have you met Colin Firth?
I went to Colin Firth's 40th birthday party.
What?
Yeah, with James Fabricant.
Oh, right. Okay.
It was drinks. It was when they were shooting. I think it was his 40th. It might be his wife's. It was all a bit confusing. It was when they were shooting Mamma Mia, and all the Mamma Mia cast came to Soho House because MySpace had produced Colin's wife's documentary that she'd made.
Right, we've just lost about 5,000 listeners. We're just like, F these guys.
And I did shots with Stellan
Skarsgård.
Yeah, he likes a drink.
Who's
that?
Viking.
He's the dad. He's one of the fathers in it.
In
Mamma Mia.
I've never seen
You know him. He's in the Thor films.
Yes, he's the
He's like the
scientist.
Scandinavian scientist.
And his son is Alexander Skarsgård, who's in True Blood. And always
No, stick with Stellan. You'll know Stellan.
You recognise him.
This is dead air.
This is dead air.
Don't really recognise him, but okay.
Anyway, that's got nothing to do with the story, but yes, I did have a drink with Colin Firth, and his wife was delightful. But things aren't going well for Colin Firth right now. He has left the Paddington movie. Now, we've all been eagerly anticipating the Paddington movie.
What?
Did you see the memes that started up last week when the first still of him was released?
No.
He looked a bit creepy in one of the stills, and so creepy Paddington has become a big thing on the internet, and it's very, very funny. Just putting this creepy-looking bear that's kind of smiling,
Like static photos.
yeah, in different horror films. But yeah, he has left the film, but it's been it's a mutual decision. He released a statement saying, "After a period of denial, we've chosen conscious uncoupling." It's been. So he's making.
Is that what?
That's
Gwyneth
what
Paltrow.
Paltrow
He's making a Coldplay joke. He says it's been bittersweet to see this delightful creature take shape and come to the sad realization that he simply doesn't have my voice.
So who are they getting to voice him?
Well, he said he's going to help them out, try and find someone. They haven't found anyone yet. Any suggestions?
Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
The director said, "We love the
Aaron
voice and we
Paul.
love the bear, but as our young bear came into being, we agreed that the two didn't seem to fit. So with somewhat heavy hearts, we've decided to part ways."
So the thing with Paddington is that I assumed that he was a British bear, but somebody was saying he's from South America.
He's from
or something.
Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So would he have a Peruvian accent?
What? Yeah.
I don't think
but
so.
Then you,
Like Paddington
Oh,
bear.
Danny. What? So kind of a Latino. Danny Tree. Danny
Why would he like
Pedro
marmalade?
Pascal. Get Pedro Pascal.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
But why would he like marmalade if he's from Peru?
Because it's an exotic fruit to him.
I wouldn't worry about the logic.
He
of-
likes French
That's how my brain
preserves.
works. Yeah.
What about Bill Nye?
But no, but I thought Paddington was kind of meant to be a bit like a young bear rather than... Sure, Bill Nighy is starting to sound old.
It's hard because you've got to think, what would a bear sound like?
Charles Dance.
Just continuing with the theme of
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance, I think, would be.
Oh,
Charles Dance?
Yeah.
Have you seen how much on the topic of voice acting? Have you seen people saying that Peter Dinklage is really bad in Destiny?
I have.
Have you seen the clip
about a space moon wizard?
Yeah.
It's really awkward.
Is it?
Yeah.
And he's got a great voice.
But the performance is not.
Does it not fit?
I think people should write in with their suggestions for who should play Paddington.
The thing is, right,
and we'll pass them on to the
in
studio.
The UK. Is it a thing outside the UK?
They've spent a lot of money in it. The guys that produced Harry Potter have produced it, so I think they're hoping to launch a franchise. It's out Christmas Day in the States, which is a big release date over there.
Wow.
Actually, on Christmas Day?
Yeah,
people go and see films on it.
People do in America.
Wow. When we were in San Francisco, Noddy had an American accent.
What?
They dubbed Noddy with an American accent.
Yeah, and Thomas the Tank Engine is not Ringo Starr. I think Alec Baldwin did some of them, but Thomas the Tank Engine's Americanised.
Wait,
Thomas the Tank Engine's Ringo Starr over here?
Sorry?
Thomas the Tank Engine is Ringo Starr.
He used to be.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Ringo. It's some of his finest work.
Thomas the Tank Engine's kind of before my time, though. It's all about Fireman Sam, really, for me. What happened to that Postman Pat thing? Stephen Mangan's in that, right?
Came out.
Yeah.
Oh, how was that?
I think.
Why did you review it? Why not?
Yeah, why was that not on the site?
Yeah, Chris.
The trailer for that was awful.
We don't do minus marks on IGN.
Ah, good.
Awful.
Good.
Tough love.
That's it for this week's news. Now, last week was E3. It was your first time, Daniel and Luke.
Yep.
What did you think as show virgins? Was it everything you expected it to be and more?
I was nervous, but it was actually over quite quickly.
Yeah.
Hey. It was. I found it quite a surreal experience because I've probably, like a lot of people listening to this podcast, I've read IGN since I was a lot younger, and I remember reading IGN when like Zelda Ocarina of Time came out, and I used to watch IGN coverage on IGN's coverage of E3 every single year as it grew more and more. Until just before I got a job here, I used to watch like the live stream, what we did back then.
As soon as you got the job, you thought,
don't watch any of it anymore. Jesus. So it was really surreal to go and cover it for IGN.
Yeah.
It was very strange. I've been to Gamescom for 3 years, and Gamescom's absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So I was kind of used to the scale of Gamescom. And it's not as big as Gamescom, but it's bigger in terms of the announcements and the games and the kind of buzz that's around the show.
Yeah. I think that's because obviously
it's a real Gamescom, isn't it?
We spend a lot of time within the business area, but the kind of crazy stuff at Gamescom is the public calls, and obviously E3 is not public. They're actually quite strict on security.
It was great, and like I'm sure people who listen to this podcast probably listen to several other IGN podcasts, which are also available. And it's really nice to see all the people we work with every day, but not necessarily see every day.
Yeah.
Who was the most annoying?
I couldn't. Apart from Luke.
Yeah, I was going to say no brainer.
I'm not going to answer that.
You made a good joke. It's fine.
Move on.
I don't know. I kind of growing up looking at it, like the whole Booth Babe era and stuff. I always thought it would be a bit of
That was a long time ago.
Well, that's the thing.
It hasn't been like that for a long time.
But that's the thing. That was kind of always my impression of it as a bit of a circus, and it just seems a lot. It was a lot more refined, I thought.
It was definitely quieter this year.
Cause everyone was always saying, be sure to leave yourself time to walk between meetings and stuff. It took me 5 minutes to walk between halls.
So there's like quick. Two really big halls, like the west and the east, is that right?
No, west and south.
West and south. And my big takeaway, even though I don't really like that phrase, very deep shag carpet everywhere.
I know, it's nice, isn't it?
Very bouncy underfoot. Like, obviously, because there's probably a lot of wires they need to cover up so people don't trip. You go into these booths and you're like, springy.
Listeners, this is the kind of detail you don't get on other podcasts.
Because they'll be talking about PS4 exclusives and whether they matter anymore.
That carpet was sweet.
It was very nice.
After a week, my knee cartilage got a suppleness that it hasn't had since I was at least 7.
I know, I felt it as soon as you came back.
I remember saying, feel it, Chris.
Yeah.
Feel my patellas. And, my broken leg, it did wonders for it.
Good.
So that was my main lesson of E3.
So the one thing I did think was a bit kind of funny was that you both flew, 5,000, 6,000 miles to watch the press conferences from a live stream within a room, so you didn't actually get to any of them.
We were part of the team.
That was quite fun, like doing.
You were there with the free stuff.
You were there with your bracelets, your booth babes, and your champers.
Being carried around.
Going, get me a square of carpet.
Imagine that one on each foot.
sample.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
You grew up in a different era, didn't you, Al? When it was just, all vol-au-vents and carpet tiles.
So I guess, talking specifics, not the carpet, although that probably was your biggest surprise.
That was my highlight.
What were the highlights for you? And what was the highlight for you, Chris? Obviously, not having us in the office
quiet week.
was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
From E3, nothing. I'll be honest. I've just had a drink with Handy at lunch talking about it. Nothing came back from E3 that got us particularly excited in the office.
I don't think there was one single thing that was like mind blowing. I just think there was a solid. Well, actually, probably the biggest takeaway is that all the games coming out next year, not this year.
Sure. I think the Zelda stuff was what had me most intrigued.
That was some of the most popular stuff on site. Like people, despite what they say, I thought the Wii U. Nintendo had a fantastic
They did do very well.
They come out really buoyant. Obviously, people think we slag Nintendo off on this podcast. I don't think we ever do. I thought they had a fantastic show.
My favourite.
I loved all the stuff that I saw. They announced new games, and people love Nintendo on IGN.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just build into that, someone once said, will you guys stop slagging Nintendo off now? The week after we were like, Mario Kart 8 is our game of the week, and you should buy a Wii U for it.
And like one thing,
probably
if
not.
you followed video, I think a lot of people get like really frenzied about the Nintendo beating, need a sense of perspective, and one thing you should know about video games is you don't write off Nintendo.
No.
Nintendo were instrumental in founding this entire industry. They have enough money to sustain 2 or 3 failures.
Yeah.
They're like the German football team of the games industry.
They have some of the best designers and artists in the world. Ridiculous.
What was it? Yoshi's Woolly World?
Yoshi's Woolly World. But just really fun games. And I know they're recognisable characters, but they're new games. They're new concepts, new art styles.
Yeah.
Fully open world Zelda. Even little things like Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
I wasn't sold on Splatoon, but Splatoon, I played it for a bit, and it's actually quite
and the thing is, that game, you could have easily made that Mario paintball.
Yeah.
And they could have easily done that, but they thought no, because Mario doesn't turn into a squid. And they thought, let's create new characters. And also, that's a game not being made by the old guard. It's not made by Aonuma, Sakurai, Miyamoto. It's this new generation.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be positive about. Wii U might not take off in the same way, but we've seen rise in sales.
Burn, isn't it?
There's going to be those amiibo little toys coming out before Christmas.
Smash Bros.
It could be a kind
excellent.
of a second launch for the Wii U.
Yeah.
I very much like Smash Bros. I thought, for me, actually, the announcement of Rise of the Tomb Raider, I quite liked. I thought the trailer was great.
I thought it was a genuine surprise.
But this thing, because they had perfectly positioned that to kind of go running with her as like, oh, now I'm the Tomb Raider, amazing, balls out kind of thing. And it's not. She's very damaged still. It's still really building her character again.
It would be interesting to see whether actually
whether it
carries over into a gameplay
completely.
thing. Because, in the first one, it's like, oh, she's all traumatised on Ireland.
And then
she's killing the best of them.
Yeah.
Completely.
So it's one of those very hard things. You can have it on a script level, but maybe not in a gameplay.
I would like to see how that works, and then obviously with a notion that it builds up to a third one that is then
really good. But Rise of is like you need a rise in the film. Title. But that was a genuine surprise because we're obviously privy to insider information,
so we
weren't even aware that was coming.
Well, no, I think I said to you because they announced an Xbox Live version. I can't remember what the name of that
sequel,
Temple of Osiris.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if it was that at first. So I thought, but the thing that you said that the Microsoft conference was the strongest
for me. Yeah.
And I actually thought it was the weakest. I thought they had good games, but apart from Crackdown...
Well, I quite liked Scalebound, which is that Platinum new game. Which, I like Platinum, I like Dragons. Well, it's not to like. Admittedly, no gameplay and stuff. Someone made... the big thing I would say is Sony showed a lot more gameplay, whereas Microsoft tend to be more trailer-heavy. But also, I just thought Microsoft, from my opinion, were coming from a position of weakness in the sense that, they'd slowly been turning it around since Spencer was back in charge, and they were, they were kind of ready to kind of really pitch it as a games console, and that's what they did. Whereas Sony didn't. Sony went the other way in terms of entertainment.
The Microsoft press conference was the actual fulfillment of this entire kind of U-turn they've been doing since the initial announcement of the Xbox One at Redmond back in what was it, February last year, and where everything, we said this at the time, everything was drowned under entertainment, movies,
TV,
partnerships, and all that sort of stuff, and sport, and all those other things. And Spencer ended the conference by saying it's all about the games.
Yeah.
So it's taken them a year and a bit to get to the same kind of positioning that PlayStation took in light of the original Xbox announcement. So it's kind of the fulfillment and the completion of this realignment, repositioning of the Xbox as a games machine. And Xbox did great things this generation, or last one, with like Summer of Arcade with indie titles. And there's this great sizzle reel during the Microsoft conference for Xbox ID, which is the kind of new indie kind of incubator.
Yeah.
And they showed loads of games that come in. They showed Limbo and all that sort of stuff. The Limbo sequel. By the same developer.
What's it called?
Inside. And it's just like, we're about this. We realise how we can connect with you.
Yeah.
Games should be our focus. And so a little bit cap in hand.
Yeah. So I thought Sony's was good. I mean, Bloodborne looks really exciting, but
it went on forever.
Sony's went on forever, and then towards about the 3/4 mark, they just went off and talked about Powers for a bit, and especially because Powers has only come to North America at the start, and then it's coming elsewhere. I was just a bit like, I'm not interested in Powers to begin with, but it's not even relevant to me. Go away.
It is an American show.
Yeah.
So what?
I thought the Ubisoft conference
Is that your
was strong because
Aisha Tyler's good.
if you looked at, I think there was one swear word in the Microsoft conference which was bleeped, whereas the Ubisoft conference was just
That's what
everything.
Like.
It's just like that's the difference between Americans and Europeans.
Aisha Tyler
We do
swearing
not
like a
give
mofo.
a toss, which was pretty sweet.
Is she the woman who got Gilwood?
Yeah. She's the one who. Did you watch Friends?
No.
Well, she's in Friends as Ross's girlfriend.
Oh, okay. No, I do know.
She was 24 as well.
Yeah, she's in 24. She's quite a prolific actress.
She's funny.
And this is the
She's
third
good.
year.
She really
the
knows her
third year
stuff.
she's done it. Yeah.
Good for her.
But again, so tying it all together, it was Rainbow Six Siege, which was my game of the show, but that's also the first thing they showed. Because I do like guns.
You do like guns.
So, tell us a bit more about it, because you and I got to play it on the last day.
I was pretty good at it.
You were excellent. So the rest of Alex's team died. Do you want to explain to Chris the concept of the game?
Was he like Leroy Jenkins?
He was, but good.
But no, because I was considered with my approach. So it's basically a SWAT game, and you've got 4, what are they called? Terrorists, yes, thank you, and 4 SWAT guys. And you play once on one side, and then you swap it over and play it as the other. And the level we played it on was a house in suburban America somewhere or other, and this woman has been held hostage. And as the terrorists, you've got to build up or fortify your house by putting up.
Yeah, so you've got like
defenses.
a minute to barricade it. So you can barricade any wall, strengthen it, barricade the windows, lay down barbed wire, all that sort of stuff.
And the hostage always appears in different places. So as the attackers, you've always got to think, right, where's the hostage? How are they going to defend it? And as a terrorist, you've got to think, right, which way they're going to come in from, because there are literally so many different ways you can come in. And the opening scene, as the SWAT guys, you send in your little, I don't know what they drones, I guess, and they can sort of scope out. But it's all about teamwork. And saying the hostages in the basement, the guy's putting up this, and this. But it is one-shot kills. So as soon as you're hit, you're out for the round. But the rounds only last, 3 to 4 minutes. So it's really, really quick. So you've got to get the hostage really quick, get her extractor out of there, or kill the other team.
Yeah, so Alex, we're on a team trying to save this hostage.
Yeah.
And we all died. It was just Alex left, and there were 3 terrorists alive. The developer even died. Alex was on his own.
Yeah.
Absolute badass. So he got it down to just the hostage and 1 terrorist. And what Alex did, he tried to go around the back because there was a hole in the wall to flank the terrorist. But then he got snagged on the wall.
I got stuck. It was just moving on the wall.
Everyone was watching it.
But I managed to get free. But it's like, even if you die, because in a lot of games when you die, you're sitting there just watching what's going on.
Yeah.
But here you can commentate and use the CCTV cameras to say the hostages are in this
really
room, or he's looking this way, and it's just smart and really fast.
Call of Duty is just repeat, really heavy repeat, just shoot everything.
Yeah.
This is really
the speed.
do you want to go into this room? Well, I'll follow you, but I'll cover this angle. It's really tactical.
I like the idea of it being really fast as well.
Yeah.
So when you do die, you haven't got lots to wait, so you can have another go.
And I think the cool thing is because you each have very specific roles to play, and so I can't remember the name of my character class exactly, but he had explosives to breach. And you can stick them on the wall and blow holes, or you can do it on the floor and go through,
down, drop down from the ceiling and just take people out like a badass.
Awesome.
It did
For the
look
first
awesome.
round, I think I was an assault guy as the terrorist. I had this guy that was, I don't know if it was you, I hope it wasn't.
No, it
you,
wasn't me.
Just throwing loads of C4 on the floor, and I'm like, what are you doing? And of course, like one of the SWAT guys just shot C4 and just blew us all up. It's like,
Yeah.
brilliant. That's such a good plan.
So that was your game of the show.
That was my game of the show.
What's your
yes.
game of the show, Luke?
I don't know. It's not my game of the show, but Assassin's Creed was. I thought that.
But we asked you what was your game of the show.
My game of the show was Mortal Kombat X. I think.
Right, thank you.
Why did you like it?
Because it felt suitably different from. I mean, certainly what in terms of they showed so 4 new fighters. I like Mortal Kombat. I'm one of those. I don't like saying it, but I play Mortal Kombat for the story. Kind of. I think it's quite. I
don't
just
think
quite.
I've ever heard anybody say
I know.
that.
I try not
You
to
like
make it a
mythology,
big thing,
right?
but I like the mythology behind
That's
it.
like watching porn for the story.
Pretty much, yeah.
they've fallen
Bloody
in
porn.
love.
So I like the story anyway.
His face.
And yeah, so but in terms of gameplay, it's much smoother. It looks gorgeous. And yeah, no, that was actually one of my biggest one of the announcements I was most excited about before E3.
Yeah, you enjoyed that trailer, didn't you?
Oh
My-
yeah,
my God.
there's a picture of me reacting well to that trailer.
Enjoying it quite a lot.
Enjoying it quite a lot. I like the look of Assassin's Creed as well. I was
I
worried
think it
that
looked amazing when he
Yeah.
jumps back down the notch. Like
That was the other
cathedral.
thing.
It's mildly impressive.
Yeah.
It's whether it can kind of.
This is the thing,
get
I would-
outside of
I
some
want
of the
to see-
pitfalls that it's whether it's gameplay.
that's the thing, because I played Mortal Kombat and I loved it. I would like to play Assassin's Creed before I kind of completely give it my vote of confidence.
And also, the big talking point, no female assassin, was a huge thing that came out. Of
yes.
it. I don't want to go on that too long, but just one thing. 'Cause I did history A level, and I studied French Revolution. The most famous assassin from the French Revolution was a woman.
Yeah.
It's called a woman called Charlotte Corday.
Oh, there you go.
So that's irony.
Yeah.
Irony. Anyway, let's not. That's a talk for another day. And there's lots of stuff already out there about it.
What was your game of the show?
So I thought Bloodborne was incredibly impressive when we saw it, but we didn't get to play it, so I don't think that's a legitimate contender. Evolve. I've played Evolve.
Yeah.
Probably as much as anyone, I think, at IGN. I've played it 3 times now.
Yeah.
And every time I think it's great.
Yeah.
So this time I played against our reviews editor, Dan Stapleton, as the monster, who played as the new monster, which is the Kraken.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 players and against the 5th player, who is a monster. And it's like Jurassic Park in space on this island, and you've all got to work together to kill this big monster. And he plays the Kraken, which is the monster they unveiled on IGN at E3, which is this kind of big Cthulhu-like space wizard.
Did he release it?
He did. Releasing it all over us, and he can like fire out kind of weird vortexes that draw dark matter and stuff, really weird stuff that explode, and these little like spheres of dark energy that attract towards you.
Right.
Very different. He can fly, unlike the Goliath monster, so it's very hard, very much more agile and mobile.
What's to prevent you from flying up high and escaping, or is it?
I think there's probably a ceiling. I don't know whether. I imagine. I didn't play as.
Oh, you
I
didn't play
imagine
as the monster.
flying is probably limited.
I
Probably.
guess energy in the
Probably
same way the
drains.
jet.
There's one more monster to
Probably has
reveal,
cooldown.
right?
One more monster to reveal before release, I think. So I played as new trapper class, who had the pet alien dinosaur, Daisy, which is awesome. It's just a really fun game. The dynamic is great. It just looks beautiful as well.
There you go.
So
Those are our
I'm
favourite
big
games.
fan of Evolve.
There's no
V3.
single player for that, is it? It's
Well,
They
they haven't
haven't
gone
announced
into it yet. So
Okay.
I think multiplayer is obviously the focus.
Yeah.
So I imagine there'll be some kind of single player.
Yeah.
challenges
But
maybe.
I don't, I
Cool.
don't know yet.
Anyway, those were our favourite games from E3. You should let us know yours. IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com. Let's move on to reader feedback. And Luke, you've got the first piece.
I do. So this is from Sean Y, a long-time listener, but first-time contacting the show. So he was talking about the last podcast we did. We talked about gory scenes, right? To do with
The Viper.
the
Game of
Viper
Thrones.
and the Mountain
Whether
in
it was
Game
too
of Thrones.
much, whether the
Yeah.
violence overwhelmed the dramatic moment.
And so he was saying we said it has a greater effect in TV rather than games. He said that he didn't really feel that fazed by it, but in video games, it's the contrast. So this example he gives is Grand Theft Auto 5, that torture scene.
Okay.
He says, I felt really uneasy and generally repulsed. Something television or film can never do is give the viewer control over the violence, and that's what makes that scene so grotesque. The scene in Game of Thrones was violent, but you're only a spectator.
That's interesting. I totally get that point, and it's one that's made a lot. I think there's a lot of validity to it. What I would say is, I find it easier to probably identify and sympathise with human actors, even though I'm not controlling it, than digital. Because it obviously just looks more real. There's more human emotion being portrayed.
I didn't actually find that bad. It was the scene after where he's
games. It's agency and
because I agree with you completely about violence. I mean, violence in games doesn't look.
And I would say I probably the characters I've probably engaged with most in games recently are sophisticated.
A film I'd recommend from a few years back is called Funny Games. And violent films, and why we like to watch these. And why are you watching this? You've been watching this for an hour and you're enjoying this. Who's the sick?
Some more on the Viper episode. Can anyone remember? It's very shocking for a Thursday evening viewing on BBC Two. They have
beginning this whole fight happens and Buffy just and do the than that one as well. It's a lot bloodier than the Viper one, just because you see his face.
Literally from a rugby match where somebody's getting their eye gouged out. It's not about gaming or film related, but I thought it might be of interest for you guys.
School
1916
on a biplane, like one of those pedal planes.
Anyway, causing them to crash into a body of water. And following the crash, they were discovered a clear mental image of a couple of guys catching Nest zapper guns while investigating.
Did anything recently happen in life that triggered her to want to find out where it started?
So, if you're interested, the fact was mentioned on the QI podcast.
There you go.
No such thing as a fish, which I've only just discovered, but is actually quite funny. Nothing on ours, though.
I didn't know there was a QI podcast.
There you go.
That sounds good.
So you've learned this.
Why are you listening to this?
They like airline toilets must used to be bigger.
I don't know.
I just when we were flying over,
they probably didn't have airline toilets in 1916.
No,
and also it can't have been a mile up.
Nah, probably. Just right on the wing, you unbalanced the plane.
Chris, have you got some feedback?
Yeah, I thought I had an interesting fact for you, but I can't find it. This comes from Abto Hassan, who says, I played The Last of Us for the PS3 but haven't played a lick of online or the Left Behind expansion. Would you recommend I buy the PS4 version so I can experience the entirety of the game, or should I forget it and save my money for another title?
So I haven't played online, but I do think Left Behind is really, really good.
Left Behind's great.
And you know what, if you can trade it in and maybe a few other games, there's not much else coming out this summer.
I think it's one of those stories that actually is worth playing again.
And it's probably one of those games you'd be quite happy to have in your PS4 collection for years to come.
Yeah.
So I would say I'd go for it.
I think it's worth it.
I'm going to play it again on PS4.
There you have
I am
good advice.
So also something else we've been asking, because we're coming up to podcast 250 at some stage, and we've been asking for people to give stuff, our top moments from the podcast. So Mark has written in to say, probably not helpful as I don't know which episode these are from. You're right, it's not helpful. But for the clips, please have...
the readership big smile.
Thank you, Mark.
He's like this every day.
Please have lengthy montages of all of Tilly's toilet stories.
That'd be a long podcast.
It would be.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should have a special one dedicated to it, or I could just recount them all.
Well, we should definitely have that one where you disappear. You just vanish, and we have to continue without you for a little bit, and then you magically reappear.
How about I grab a dictaphone, go into a toilet, and just talk?
What, have a lengthy montage?
Why don't we live stream?
There you go.
Live stream on you.
Live stream. So and he also says all the watermelon and Mia Motorola jokes, and every time someone shouts "unlucky."
Unlucky.
Alex, do you want to?
There you go. No?
We really do need people to tell us what episode they're on.
No, and not just the episode, actually a time code.
And ideally edit it out
because we can remember funny stuff as well, but we can't be bothered to go through all 250. Let's be really honest.
This is us totally delegating it to you.
We did spend 2 hours the other day just aimlessly scrubbing through episodes
to find funny bits. Also,
some funny bits.
It was quite nostalgic more than anything.
It says Bex was great for a laugh as well, so a compilation of her.
I wouldn't say that. So another one saying something good about previous episodes. Hello chaps, this is Andrew. I recall when you guys used to eat unusual/random things. Did you? Give them scores.
I didn't like that either.
Remember the lasagna? This is actually when I used to listen to the podcast.
Is that a lasagna sandwich?
Yeah.
I like
horrible stuff.
Who is it? Dan? Or Tom?
Kilby used to eat.
It sounds like
I never did as well.
Did you not?
So there you go. That's how these traditions die out.
I tried the sandwich just because I...
Sony's week conference. It wasn't. Which potentially... I'm trying to think of a polite way of saying that.
Frittered.
The big lead built in the first 8 months of the console generation was more of a result.
I think Microsoft more than anything caught up. I think Sony's press conference, Sony conference, resulting in this kind of big kind of like, oh, well done, Sony.
Yeah.
And to the point you said earlier is like
Even the
there's
Uncharted
not one
reveal.
thing.
because
We knew it was coming.
And also Uncharted 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And it was already revealed that it was coming.
Yeah.
When was that? December last year.
And Bloodborne, if it hadn't been leaked,
Yeah.
that might have been a bit more of an oomph to it.
Yeah.
But I think because the presentation was like clocking in almost 2 hours.
Yeah, it was a long presentation.
If you reduce that down to an hour, it would have felt so much richer.
Yeah.
As I say, I've said it already, but they should have. I think they could have done without the bit on powers, personally, or at least not so long. They did go on about powers.
Announce that at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
To that audience, do that. That seems better fit, and then you've got another bang for PlayStation.
I mean, you wonder if maybe they were just like, oh, we should just keep this in here just in case Microsoft make a play for entertainment. We can be like, oh, we've got, but you know, because obviously Microsoft were going to mention the Halo original series and stuff.
Do you guys know anything about? So there's a lot about Rockstar here. So 2 parts of GTA, just in case there is any. But the announcement of GTA 5 for PS4, I now wonder whether to trade it in and get another game to keep me going. What do you guys reckon?
No idea what's going on with that. I don't reckon you're going to see any single-player DLC for a long time.
So you should go all in PS4.
Well, I'm trying to think of what the timeline was like for GTA 4.
Lost and Damned.
Do you reckon it'll be along like Red Dead kind of Undead Nightmare type thing, like bigger thing? Or?
I think
I think from
from
the announce through to us as the press seeing it to the release was a good few months. So I just don't think you'll see it soon.
Well, we're still waiting on heists, aren't we?
Yeah,
for online.
That's been delayed.
Anyway, and then the second part is Rockstar releasing its traditional game this year other than GTA 5? So they usually have an annual release cycle. Max Payne 3 came out before GTA. I always look forward to the release of a new game, but all seems to have gone quiet on that front. I really hope we get to revisit Red Dead's universe as well as LA Noire. I thought they were 2 fantastic games of the last generation.
Well, in the Take-Two earning call of this year, they did say that by the end of March 2015... Rockstar would be releasing their first next-gen title. Yeah. That could very well, however, have been in reference to GTA.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And this is based on no insider information, but they are making Red Dead. They are obviously making a new Red Dead.
Yeah.
And I think, that's not...
and that's no great guess.
But it's not to fill a gap between GTA, because that in its own right is as big as that now.
It's huge now. And also, if you think about... like, how many times did we actually talk about Red Dead on this podcast? I know I'm probably... I do bang on about it. But if you look at all the lists out there, it always places. So you think, from the moment that came out, how much kind of... I don't know, goodwill that game has generated. So when the sequel comes out, it's going to be that fever pitch, I think. For it. So it's it's going to be not quite GTA level, obviously. Yeah. But it's going to be the interest in that game is going to be huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think we might get an announcement about Red Dead before Christmas. Like, because when was the first trailer for GTA? That was like October, wasn't it? Am I right?
Gosh, I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
It was about a year of hype.
But I don't think, because usually they release like in May for their other title. Yeah. That's obviously not happened. Yeah. So I think maybe May next year.
You think for Red Dead?
Yeah.
All right, watch this space.
Bet you.
I know, I'm not betting against you.
Fine. Oh, all right.
Got an email from Kian in Ireland, who has an Xbox and 5 games: Battlefield, Forza, Thief, Dead Rising, and FIFA. And he says he was playing FIFA, and then he turned on Battlefield, and we were all set up to play co-op. We searched, and then I realised there was none. It's the same for Dead Rising and Thief. Forza has multiplayer, which is fun but repetitive. I was wondering why there wasn't co-op in the games I said above. Is there any explanation from Microsoft?
No. But if you're looking for a good co-op game, Rainbow Six Siege.
Excellent, because he says it's his birthday coming up and he's looking for recommendations.
Might not be out.
It's not going to be out, but nearer than
Assassin's Creed. Unity, and Far Cry. 4. So actually, one of the things we talked about when we were walking on the show floor, it seemed like co-op became a bit more of a prominent thing at this year's E3, which feeds into the next email from Luke.
I thought you just had some kind of hemorrhage.
I like that Luke seamlessly saying what
Harry Riot says...
Harry Riot?
Harry Riot. So he enjoyed our coverage of E3. He's got a PS3, he's thinking of upgrading to a PS4, but an increasing amount of the big games seem to have heavily focused co-op. So he said Destiny, Assassin's Creed Unity, The Division, and Rainbow Six Siege. They look like great games he wants to play, but he's worried they might not be for him anymore as a solo gamer. He's always been a solo gamer at start, apart from being like a random in multiplayer shooters, because none of his friends have been gamers for years.
Right.
So from our time at E3, did we get an impression or indication from developers if they would offer a playable and fleshed out single-player experience?
I think it varies between these games.
Yeah, exactly.
I think The Division will have something.
I think Destiny
there's
will
a narrative there,
and the Destiny as well. You know, it will group you up with other players automatically.
Yeah.
Like you will play with others, but in the same way that matchmaking works on COD type thing. You know, you won't. There will be plenty of own goals for you to work towards in your own time.
They were quite explicit with why they redesigned Patriots into Siege. One of the reasons they cited was that they want to start with a multiplayer game and not a single player. It is primarily a multiplayer experience.
But I do believe there is going to be a single player experience.
But that is going to be built off the multiplayer. So it's.
But I do, you can't play Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
You can't just go into a lobby with a bunch of randoms.
Yeah.
You've got to communicate.
Because it'll be incredibly frustrating. Because I played Evolve, and the guy who was playing the assault class didn't speak any English, so he kept just running off on his own. And the guy who was coaching us through headset was like, "Oh, you want to stay with the team so they can revive you?" And every time he just ran off into the distance, and we all just like, "Oh, brilliant!" He just died instantly.
That's not a recipe for success in the game.
But it varies between a lot of these games. Like Assassin's Creed, I'm sure you could still have the full, authentic Assassin's Creed experience without a bunch of mates. But did we answer that?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah, I think it's title by title.
Any more feedback?
Yeah, I've got a piece from Ben Harris who says, couple of points actually. I've just bought a PS4 with Watch Dogs and was shocked at how differently the gameplay is in comparison to what the marketing made us believe. Specifically, I'm talking about the hacking, which is the only difference from any other GTA clone. I think this approach, intentional or not, is highly destructive to the reputation of that developer's brand, and as a punter you feel misled, especially after the hype and delay. Interested in if you guys got the same impression, or is it just me?
I would say if you were just looking at the demo that was at E3 2 years ago, fair enough, they are very different, but Ubisoft have not been devious in not showing that game for the last 2 years. Especially over the last 6 months, we've had extensive video of that game on IGN, and it looks like the video that we've had on IGN for like the last 6 months, a year. So it's not like it's come out after 2 years of silence and look like a completely different thing. I think just against that demo at E3, but I wrote a thing on the site before E3 about why that demo looked so good, because
vertical slice.
Yeah, because the rest of the game didn't exist back then. Yeah. That demo was built as kind of like a pilot to show to investors and say, this is what we'd like the game to look like, and then they actually had to go away and make it. So
which they do for films quite a lot.
So I don't think there's one person to blame in all this, and I think you could probably legitimately have a go at Ubisoft if they hadn't shown the game off for the last kind of 6 months, a year, but they have, and it's not looked too dissimilar.
I also think, I think we said this before, is that the first Assassin's Creed actually wasn't very good.
No.
But by the time it hit the second one, it hit its stride. So I think as a first outing, and it's pretty good.
It's hot, and it sounds like we're making excuses. I'm not really, but it's really hard to make a massive AAA game.
Yeah.
And no developer on that team would have wanted to make anything less than what that demo looked like.
Yeah.
That's the aspiration.
Yeah.
And you know what? Ultimately, boring things like deadlines, budgets, resource, all boring business stuff gets in the way. Yeah. And you just have to make compromises. Nobody wants to deliver less than what they could achieve.
But as like Alex says, Ubisoft iterate so quickly. Like you look at Assassin's Creed, every year it's a new one. I think by the time the next GTA comes out, if Watch Dogs is still a franchise that's going, it's going to be. I think the potential is there for it to go toe to toe with it. But
I won't say that.
I don't know. Ubisoft,
GTA 5 does look gorgeous on next gen, though.
But like hugely so, right?
Yeah.
Stunning.
Anyway,
Ben also had a quite interesting point. He said he's dumbfounded at how weak some of the stories are for even AAA titles, with the exception of Telltale's Walking Dead and the superb Wolf Among Us. And he goes on to ask, why the writing isn't as good in games as it is in TV at the moment, with a couple of exceptions.
I think in many cases, why? Because games sometimes rudely, sometimes they have to just give you something to do. They have to give you gameplay.
Yeah.
And Telltale circumvent that by making their whole gameplay experience about picking options within a narrative. So it is storytelling is the game.
Yeah.
But in other games, you want to drive a car and shoot people and run around. And obviously, it's hard to tell a detailed, emotive,
Goes on a spree
emotionally
without
compelling
getting bollocks,
story
without
having to get. The game is always going to intrude at some point. And then there's other games that have no story. Like Mario. It's funny. Like every game is the same story. But you won't find many better games than Mario because it is pure game. It's just doing stuff.
It's all about
mechanically.
what the aim of it is, right?
Yeah. So, and occasionally, like I think Last of Us, like kind of got the balance well balanced because each section of action kind of fitted into the story. Whether you were running away to get to somewhere, it kind of followed the narrative quite closely, and you had the characters having really well timed snippets of dialogue while you were playing.
Yeah.
So it felt like you were progressing the story while still doing quite basic stuff like shooting people.
Yeah.
Mundane.
Yeah.
And last bit of feedback then from Michael Bristow. He said he's talking about co-op. He's worried that it looked really, really good in all the demos, but was it just because there were industry professionals playing them? When you jump online and start playing with the average Joe, it's going to be filled with kiddies, bunny hopping around, sniping at point blank range. Well, we've kind of addressed that, right?
Yeah.
It
depends on the game.
It depends on the game, but communication definitely
within an inch of their lives. Those demos.
Communication definitely seems to be a big.
We were talking about
point.
Siege, like because you can blast through any surface. Imagine if you blasted through the ceiling and then like squashed the hostage.
Game over.
Yeah, but I think the whole point of co-op though is that you tend to play with friends. Or I do.
Don't have any friends.
There you go. That's it for feedback. Again, the email address is uk_feedback@ign.com. Let's talk about the games and movies out this week. First up, there's a game on How to Train Your Dragon 2, apparently, but we've not seen it. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to be all that.
Should we skip that, Alex?
Yeah, let's talk about MotoGP, because you are our resident expert on motorbikes, right?
Not really, but you've reviewed MotoGP in the past, haven't you, Alex?
That was a long time ago.
Was it when it was just like pixels?
I've ridden a motorbike.
Have you?
Well, I own a motorbike.
Yeah. You on a scooter?
I do, yes. But I do go about 120 on it.
And do you wear full leathers?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Lederhosen.
Yeah. I played this briefly on PS4. I wasn't very good at it. It is, I think it's fair to say, it's if you're into your racing games. Even though you can adjust it to make it play more arcadey, do definitely think more Gran Turismo than Need for Speed, obviously. But if you're into motorsport, MotoGP, it is like the one game that will cater for you. It really go for that kind of authentic televisual experience. It has all the commentators. If you follow the sport,
is it basically our NASCAR?
Yes. So that's MotoGP. It looked all right on PS4. It's not mind blowing. It's made by a small Italian developer.
Yeah.
So next game,
Entwined
is
so that
the game.
Was announced
We've reviewed
at
that.
E3, but then released at exactly the same time.
That day, available now.
More of that, please.
What is it?
It's arty.
It's a snarty flying pixel
Is
dragon.
that the one from the guy who did Journey?
No,
What was the one from the guy who did Journey? Not this.
Journey.
it's like a new boat. It's like
Oh yeah, it's Asbu.
Asbu.
Whatever it's called. Yes. So we've reviewed it on site. We've given it a 6. I feel.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of average reviews everywhere.
Yeah. Apparently it's fun. It's about two spirits that want to be together. One's a bird, one's a fish, and they can't be together. So you have to race through.
Well, that's ridiculous. A bird and a fish. Like
fly. You get a flying fish.
Well, a lion and a tiger. You know, there's something for you there.
Yeah.
A horse and a donkey.
Rattlesnake and
It can happen. But a fish and a bird, that's just pie in the sky.
Do they mean a bird as in a bird, or a bird as in a human woman?
Ooh.
Well,
But
it's a mermaid.
equally, I think those things should be kept separate because it's an abomination, Chris.
The big release of this week in terms of games, though, is UFC, and you were playing that yesterday.
Yeah, it's very complicated. I found it very complicated.
It's not like Street Fighter.
Sound like a really old man. It was very complicated when you're trying to pin them.
It feels like UFC shouldn't be complicated.
But it's all about the
Yeah.
it's all about the grapples and
Oh yeah,
submissions
it's when
and
you're
stuff
trying
like
to.
that.
So the punching and kicking, that's all right. But it's when you want to like get them to submit and you're just rolling around. Like two
There's
cowboys
a lot of rolling around.
like two cowboys away from home, and it's just you've got to grapple them, and it instigates this weird little mini game where you've got to like just tap the joystick, the analog stick, to
basically get them
outthink
into different holds and
then
positions.
get it tighter and tighter until they submit.
see
This is so
quite veins
homoerotic.
start to
You got to tap your stick to
You've got to waggle your stick to get it tighter and
To make the
tighter,
men rub each other.
Yeah.
tighter, and then eventually you'll submit.
Wow, get the semi.
It looks very good.
Looks pretty.
Yeah, but almost a bit too realistic because when you're in like poses and like you're straining against the arm, it looks like it's going to break.
It's just going to pop.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that. But I don't think our review's even live.
No, not yet.
So I think the verdict is out on that one for this week.
Movies.
Well, this is the time of year that they kind of release movies to die, pretty much, because
What's to look forward to?
Unless you're running counter programming in cinemas, young men, which make up the bulk of the audience in the summer months, going to see the blockbusters, are all watching the World Cup in England.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of action films, bizarrely, but it's just those kind of ones that will be on telly really soon. They almost feel straight to DVD. There's The Art of the Steal, which we gave quite a good review to, actually. We gave it an 8.8. It's kind of Ocean's 11 if they couldn't get quite as famous people. So it's Kurt Russell, Matt Dillon, Jay Baruchel, Terence Stamp. But yeah, it's a heist caper.
It's not quite up there, is it? With
No. Brad Pitt.
No, it's a heist caper. It feels like something I'll watch, but maybe
on a plane
when it's on Sky or something. 3 Days to Kill, the new Kevin Costner action film.
Is that about waiting to be seen in A&E? Just sitting there.
Satire.
Oh, that's a gag.
How long have you been planning that one for?
Actually, for about 5 minutes. I was like, you can make something about that.
It's Kevin Costner, Amber Heard, Hailey Stansfield. We've called it a rather sweet father-daughter story with some action. We gave it a 5.8.
That's what I want a father-daughter story with action. Ooh,
With
Taken.
That's not wrong.
Yeah, just minimal interest. And then we haven't got the review up for this live yet, but Jersey Boys, the movie, is out of the musical of the story of Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. So let's review the musical, because you've seen that.
I think the musical's great. I think a lot of people are not familiar with the work of Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons.
I'm a big fan. I'm into doo-wop.
Me too. And you will recognise so many of their songs. They have had so many hits.
Like what?
Sherry Baby, Big Girls Don't Cry.
He's got a crazy voice.
Really, like falsetto.
Well, he's the one who sang "Oh What a Night."
Don't sing it.
Can't take my eyes off of you.
You haven't quite got the pitch.
Well, this isn't from our review, but this has made me laugh earlier from Robbie Collins' review in Telegraph. He said that the scene when they do "Oh What a Night," he says it may be the most miserably heterosexual musical routine in the history of cinema, which makes me want to see it a little bit.
Yeah. What does that mean?
It just says that the cast kind of awkwardly shuffling down a plywood street to the song as they're singing it. It does sound quite awkward.
Okay.
Clint Eastwood directed it.
I know, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, but he's done a lot of musical films in the past. He's big on jazz. He's done a couple of jazz biopics.
He doesn't know what he's directing.
But it's a strange choice. It was Jon Favreau was directing it for a while.
Oh.
Right.
But yeah, so whatever.
If you're going to pick one, watch the World Cup.
Yes. Good job.
I guess same for games. Until UFC review comes out, that will hopefully be this week. And that's it for this week's podcast.
There you go.
You are going off to the World Cup.
I am, so I'll be away for at least next week. And I might be too jet lagged to talk the week after.
Well, here's hoping that by the time you get to South America, England are still in the World Cup.
Let's hope that.
Yeah.
By the time people listen to this, they'll know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And thank you all for tuning in. We will be back without Chris, same time next week. Until then, goodbye.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.